Hello, you're listening to iFanboy Pick Week, episode 987. My name is Connor Kilpatrick. This is my co-host, the venerable Josh Flanagan.
You came in hot. I was worried you were
know.
yelling at me.
I know. Well,
I'm quite venerable.
You've probably done something worthy of yelling.
Yeah, I have no doubt. I'm guilt on a stick, buddy.
Welcome to iFanboy 2025. It's our 20th year doing this show, which is amazing because, Mark Maron invented the podcast 18 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's our 25th year doing iFanboy. That means every week for that means every week for 25 years, one of us picked the book they like the best from their stack of comics. We call that book the pick of the week. We're doing the show at a different time. My body's not ready for
I know you're excited, buddy. Just keep it cool, hotshot.
It's like 4 hours earlier than normal. My body usually is not ready for talking like this. Normally, I'm like, I got some time to practice talking. Not really. When you work at home, who are you talking to? That means, where are we in the script? We're talking about this. I'm also going on vacation tomorrow. My brain's checked out.
This is your worst performance.
It's my worst, but also I'm going on vacation tomorrow as we record this. I'm checked out mentally.
That's supposed to be for your real job, not for this one. This is the fun job.
It is fun, but my brain is mentally checked out of all its faculties.
This is the only fun part.
I'm liking this. Yeah. Reading is hard. It's also fundamental.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start over again. That means every week for 25 weeks, one of us picked the book.
We didn't even get a free Pizza Hut pizza for it anymore.
There's a stack of comics. We call that book the pick of the week. That's the best book of the week. We'll talk about that book, the other books from the week, the Patron Pick, the listener mail. It's going to be fun, and there'll be spoilers, so exercise some caution. This week, Josh had the pick of the week. Why is there a D after your name in the script?
I always have a little D with me.
That's what I've heard. I've heard that.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you exactly why. It's a home row letter. That's a home row letter. So it's you pick your hands up sometimes as a downward force when you're done.
I gotcha.
That'll be what happened. Does anyone even use the phrase home row? You know what I'm talking about. ASDF, JKL, semicolon.
You had a little spasm at the end and you hit D.
I read my books. It was not a punishing week. You had more than me.
25.
Yeah, I didn't count.
But they were good. Honestly.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it when I was, we were putting the show together. I was like, God, there were like 5 or 6 books I could have made the pick of the week this week. Like, I really enjoyed my comics this week.
Yeah, I read some good comics. So, but it was really a matter of like, it was a bunch of books that we've liked. Historically. So I was like, all right, so what's special about the thing? So the pick of the week right now we're talking about is DC versus Vampires World War V, as in vampire, not 5. I don't think there's been the 4 wars prior. We are on the 11th issue. I cannot imagine there's more than one more.
No, one more. It's one more.
Right. And maybe is there another series after that?
We'll see. We didn't think this would happen, but clearly, even just from the storytelling, this is the penultimate issue.
It still feels like there's a lot to wrap up in one issue. So, the point being, I love this series. I have loved it all through the last one. At some point, like long ago, I was seeing it came out and I read one of them by accident. I read like the first of one of the side series, having not read, and I was like, oh, that's really good. I should go back. And so I caught up. And since that time, it's just every time one of these comes out, it's like, great, this is going to be fun. Same way that, Deceased was, or anything like that. It's this other world. It's being handled really deftly. Matt Rosenberg, Otto Schmidt, just great every time. And so,
although I did notice this week for the first time, I really thought about it. Art by Otto Schmidt, colors by Pierluigi Castellino. I feel like we should not have any German-Italian cross team ups on comics. Last time the Germans and the Italians teamed up, things went bad for everybody.
Yeah. I'm not doing it. I have all sorts of things going through my head right now, but
I'm trying to poke your button to see if you'll jump.
Actually, like, is he actually German? German now? Okay.
Yeah, he's German.
Not a lot of German comic book artists.
No.
I can't think of any others. Anyway, so the idea here, 11th issue, a lot of things have happened, but like I didn't expect a lot of the things that happened in this issue. And so this far in, the penultimate issue, I was surprised 3 or 4 times in this.
This
2
had at
very
least
much
2
so.
oh shit moments.
Yes.
When I
Yeah,
read
and
it, I was like,
so
oh shit, and then 2 pages later, oh shit,
the
and that's
first
great because
yes.
we can't do not
No.
that you can't, but we talked about this forever because of this book and because of DC, because of Dark Knights of Steel, is these Elseworlds comics. You can actually do legitimate oh shit moments. You can
Mhm.
have people die. I was
Yep.
very satisfied by one of these oh shit moments. It made me really happy.
Well, the good news is that the first one came up and there was I didn't expect that at all. But then
Right.
you thought, well, that's taken care of. That's not going to happen.
That's the big moment of the series.
you know.
And it was, I mean, it was sad. The second one, which even as much as I enjoyed it, was
Yes.
still sad, and that makes it great for great writing, great storytelling. Is that even a character you hate can die and be emotional. But
Mhm.
I think when this started, we both might have been a little bit like, oh, okay, we're gonna do another one. But the way this series has gone has been really unexpected and interesting and fun, and the idea of the vampires and the humans having to team up to fight Darkseid has been really interesting.
Yeah, and it, like right at the end, this sort of comes together. So it hasn't for so long that when it does, you're like, oh, that's really interesting. I guess they would. And there's a lot of problems, but there's no choice, and they're all being,
otherwise he's just going to squish their heads. Squish,
yeah.
squish, squish, squish,
Can
squish,
we?
squish.
My problem, if I have any, is still that some of the vampires have kept their personality from previously, and some have not.
Yeah.
Some of them have like gone all evil, and it's like Wonder Woman, although she sort of became herself in this one. But at other times it just didn't seem like her. But at the same time, like Damien's still Damien. He's 100% Damien. But Batgirl, not. She's like.
I feel like Damien was the only one who never fully went vampire, and that may be a testament to his will.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman certainly went evil, but here, the vampires realize they have to team up with the humans or they're going to die too, and so she's still pretty vampire Wonder Woman in this, I think. But no, but Damien, I think that's a choice. I think that's a choice to say this guy is so much Damien that he can't even becoming a vampire doesn't change that.
Have we talked about Ozempic Granny Goodness?
I did notice that. She got like, the same treatment she got in Zack Snyder stuff. But
it works better as a plump old lady. That's
same as Amanda Waller. They gave them both Ozempic. Yeah, listen, it's better for their health. I can't knock it.
No, it's true.
But it was a little disappointing because it just that look is iconic, and it's not what you expect.
And that's why Kirby did it that way.
Right. And so to make her just a fit granny doesn't do anyone any favors.
Yeah. But like
for her heart.
It's still so many things in here that are moving around and being juggled and all the characters, and I'm not confused.
Yeah.
I know what's happening, with each issue, and there's these little sort of teams that have sort of been put together on the side, but I know where people stand for the most part. You have, Wally, offering to basically sacrifice himself, and it was, you can't do that. And then, they kind of all like, yeah, I guess you have to. There's not really another choice. That's,
well, it is an event and he's a Flash, so he knows what the deal is.
Yeah, he does. He understands. And, the two things that happen, one of them is kind of, you go, oh, that makes sense why that happened. Second one is harder because of who did it.
Listen, we're going to spoil it.
Go ahead.
We gave him the warning. If you haven't read it and you're interested at this point, and if you've made it this far in the conversation, just skip ahead to the next book. But so the first thing is that this entire time Damien has been trying to kill Barbara Gordon, who's the queen of the vampires. She inherited the mantle after Dick Grayson was killed in the previous story. He was the king of the vampires. And so as the humans and the vampires are finally coming together, they have a little town hall meeting in like an auditorium, and they decide they're going to team up to fight the new gods, because both the new gods and the apocalyptic gods are against them. Do we know why the good guys are the bad guys in this one? I forgot.
They want to. They have to destroy the scourge of vampirism.
Okay,
like there's no. They like it has to be wiped
Otherwise
out.
It'll
it's
spread.
The same thing. is that what the humans and the vampires are doing is...
So the humans and the new god should team up against the vampires, really. But anyway, at the town hall meeting, Barbara,
you're not wrong,
Queen of the Vampires, gives her impassioned speech to the vampires to, put aside their differences and team up with them. And then Damien jumps out of the wings like John Wilkes Booth, and although he doesn't shoot her, but stabs her in the back and through the heart and kills her. And so that enrages the vampires.
Look at the faces behind them. It's just this like impressionistic, like
oh yeah, it's really great.
Yeah, it's great. It's really
it's like this, like, painting. This it's really good. And then that enrages the vampires, of course, makes them all really angry. And so they decide that Damien has to die for his sins, and also for killing Barbara. His sins being he exists at all. And so it's decided that the only one who can do it is Alfred, who
he makes that decision. Like the idea is they were gonna they wanted to turn them over so they could do it, and he's like, I have to do it. And I was like, all right, what's the trickery here? What? Nope. Oh no, he melted him.
I guess the ring can do that. Doesn't matter. So it's a great story moment without worrying about that. But the he says, I'll do it, and it's emotional for him. And I also forgot. Like, I remember I just saw him in the back. All right, Alfred's Green Lantern in this. And then he melts. I
did have
their back turns. All their backs are turned, which I thought was a good moment as well. Turn your back on that son of a bitch.
I did have a moment there where I was like, wait a minute, is Ra's al Ghul Green Lantern? I was like, no, he was Batman.
That was the other book. That was
it?
I think there's no.
No,
he's
Ra's
Batman. He's Batman
in this
There's
story.
so many different Elseworlds stories right now. He's Batman. That's right. It's strange he's not involved in this situation.
That is interesting. Where is he?
He flew off at one point. Didn't someone carry him off somewhere?
I'm
trying to find it, but I'm pretty sure I saw someone carrying him, or maybe that was just in my dreams. Oh no! Wait, I don't know. It was too many pages to find him. He's in here somewhere. Great comic, great art from Otto Schmidt and Pierluigi Casalino. No other book really looks like this. And you mentioned that sort of impressionistic full page shot of Barbara getting assassinated. That's a beautiful page. The colors in that really make all the red, the really vibrant blood red really works. Red's a very dominant color in this book. And should be.
And there's a lot of Spectre in this, which was really fun and unexpected too. So there's a lot of green on those pages, and all sorts of fun stuff there.
Nobody draws figures like him, though. Otto Schmidt's so unique in the way he draws people, and it's so fun.
I think the other thing here too is that he's pretty loose and imaginative on his layouts, but his storytelling is still really good. So he can do pretty dynamic things. But not lose the reader. And if you think about it, this is one of those things that I think readers don't always think about, and I don't always think about. He is dealing with dozens of characters in this book. I mean, and that, like, you just are used to watching, there's a bunch of people in a scene. That is so much more work.
Every artist will tell you the number of characters. For every character you add to the book, it exponentially makes it take longer, because you have to have their look and body type and costumes, and everyone's got different details. It's not like if you draw a Batman comic, you can draw Batman without thinking about it.
Right.
You've got to draw the Atom, and you've got to draw Light Ray, and you've got to draw Mary Marvel, and you've got to draw Alfred as Green Lantern and Harley Quinn. Like, it's just like there's a lot. You've got to draw everyone, and you got to have all these character models somewhere. It just takes a long time.
Yeah.
And,
so it's really like it's a job well done. It's continuing to deliver at this point. A lot of really fun comic series. By the time they get to 11, you're like, all right, get on with it. You've kind of lost it, but it's not even close. Like, I'm bummed out that if this is the last one next time, because I've really enjoyed this for a couple of years. I don't know
where you would go from here, right? Like, this is the raise the stakes as high as
we don't know.
Go.
We don't know how it's going to end.
There's no stakes higher than Darkseid, though. That's my feeling. I don't want it to end. I love this, but it didn't Deceased do the same thing. Like, eventually it raised the stakes to cosmic, and that's as far as you can go. So I don't know. I loved it. Great issue, but also another great issue is Fantastic Four Fanfare number 3. For some reason I thought you weren't reading it, and then so I texted you.
I wasn't. I just decided. I remembered that it was. I think I didn't read the second one for whatever reason.
Doesn't matter.
But I remembered that it was an anthology, and I was like, well, I'll look, just because I had a slightly later week, and then I just thought, all right, we'll read it, whatever. And when I sort of started, I was like, all right, Dan Slott. And then I was like, oh, Marcos Martin. It was like a surprise Marcos
Right.
Martin.
Right.
And then Tom DeFalco and Ron Friends. When I first started reading again as an older person, I have my 2 reading phases, which is
Right.
like, 11, 12, 13. And then I came back when I was, 20 or whatever it was. And I had bought a bunch of comics, and one of them was an Amazing Spider-Man, and it was a Tom DeFalco. He was the writer of Amazing Spider-Man at that point. And I went, oh, this is terrible. And really what it was just an older style, and it wasn't written for me or whatever. But I had this negative connotation of him. Also, I went to a panel at my first San Diego, and I was like, who's that
He's
old
old
cranky
school.
man?
He's
Yeah, he
old
is.
school.
And I can appreciate that now, but I don't know that I could there. Anyway, so, in that way, though, I was able to enjoy this in a way that I wouldn't have been in the past. And there really is like 3 different types of writers.
Totally.
Not to mention the many types of stories, but you wanted to talk about it.
So Dan Slott, Marcos Martin in the first story, Tom DeFalco, Ron Friends in the second story, Chip Zdarsky, and Michael and Laura Allred in the third story. It's interesting because Slott wrote that great run of Fantastic Four we loved. And Allreds drew the Silver Surfer book that Slott wrote that I loved that featured a tiny bit of Fantastic Four, maybe that didn't. But that felt very like at home. And then DeFalco and Friends and Inks by Breeding. I think it's funny that the old school guys just won't ink themselves. I mean, Friends must have drawn it on paper. You're right. I mean, when I was younger, I would have probably really disliked the DeFalco story, but I really liked it. I thought all of these stories were wonderful.
It was sweet, and again, it was unexpected because basically the Thing goes out, to he meets the Sandman.
They were all basically Thing stories.
Yeah, and he goes and meets the Thing, or he goes and meets the Sandman, and they're having a fight. And you're like, oh no! But it turns out that they've got another one of these fight clubs. Ben Grimm's in all the fight clubs, by the way.
If you got a fight club, he's in it.
And because it's just a short story, I don't need to know why Kane Marco is a sort of gray area character, but it's interesting to me that
he was a member of the Avengers in the 80s. If you recall, there was a brief period, and he sort of mentions it here that he will skirt to the edge of being good, but
sure.
And there was a weird period in the 80s when he was on the Avengers, so he's technically
an
Avenger.
Very long, affectionate hug.
Well, they're both New York guys.
3 panels of hugging.
Also, I had to look this up. I'm sorry about the light. I had to look this up, but Flint Marco's real name is William something.
Oh,
that's why he calls him Billy the whole time.
I said Kane Marco. That's Juggernaut.
That's Juggernaut.
Sorry,
yeah, that's okay.
Flint Marco. I mean, you can see why. But it was just a really simple sort of old school.
And they rescue some people. Like, it was a really nice story where the Sandman got to really be heroic in rescuing these people in a collapsed mine. They both worked together, but the Sandman really put it all on the edge. And the first story, the Dan Slott, Marcos Martin story, in which it's almost like an origin of the Thing, and then sort of like a overview of his life. I thought this was great.
Yeah.
Really, really well done. And then to briefly see Marcos Martin draw Captain America was fucking awesome. Like, I don't even remember the last time I've ever seen that. And then it was all about the Thing being a pilot. I thought this was wonderful. This miniseries.
Yeah, there was
this issue, but this particular story was wonderful.
Putting the real emphasis on the fact that he's a pilot, which gets forgotten. And apparently, and I'm not sure, but I guess Chuck Yeager
was Chuck
the
Yeager,
one who inspired him.
Yeah, well, it makes sense.
Yeah. I think he's taller and slimmer, but whatever.
He's got a lot of layers on. It's cold.
I like that whoever the flight surgeon guy is like a New York City Yiddish, the fakakta machine. Anytime is too soon. What are you gonna do?
That's his uncle from Yancey Street.
Who lives in Arizona?
He moved there for the weather. It was a dry heat.
Understand.
But I thought it was wonderful, taking him from a kid being inspired by Yeager and his uncle to become a pilot, to going to college on a football scholarship because he doesn't think he's smart enough to go to college and become a pilot, and rooming with Reed and having Reed help him study to be become what it takes to be a pilot. And then the origin happens. He becomes the Thing, and he can't fly the Quinjet. He's too big. The cockpit's too small. His hands are too big, and he's ready to quit because he's miserable. Because all he really loves is being a pilot. And then Reed is like, hey, I just made the whole cockpit big enough for you, and you can do the controls and everything, and we haven't forgotten about you. And it was just a wonderful moment when we cut to like an adventure later on with the Avengers, and A great final page where he's just so happy to be flying, and the people behind him are a little concerned about how happy he is flying. But I just thought it was great. And then the Chip Zdarsky, Michael Allred one was really funny, and for the first time made Johnny's mustache make sense to me.
You got Dazed and Confused era Matthew McConaughey.
He gave him that hair basically and that look, and I was like, okay, now I get it. But because no one else really does that.
The best part here is, and I don't want you to overlook it, is the things Leisure wear during in the first panel with his little sandals, and
he's got his slippers on.
It's nice.
His robe.
Yep. His slippies.
But I just thought this version of Johnny works.
Yeah. That was a fun little story, and also like it's played into exactly what's going on in the main book. Like clearly, Chip Zdarsky's aware of what's happening in Ryan North's book because he gave it that. And it's a fun little stupid story where like they're really leaning into just Johnny being the high status idiot. Sweet one, but he's Joey basically.
And a really nice comedic beat to end it. With the Things photo shoot. A little bit of ass on the thing there. He's flaunting it in the pool shot.
That's Mike Allred can do what he wants. It's a little bit of an anatomy problem, but whatever. I do love. I
thought this issue
photos.
It's great, and I thought this issue was wonderful. I really did.
It was fun.
And I'm glad you read it. We're gonna look at the Things photo some more. Take a quick break and be right back after this. All right, we're back with more comics, and let's talk about West Coast Avengers #9 from the regional team of Jerry Duggan, Danny Kim, Arthur Hesley, and Joe Oisi.
I had this feeling that if I stuck with it and I finally got, comfortable with where we are, I would appreciate it. And I think I'm there.
Well, you liked the last issue a lot.
I did, and I liked.
This was the best issue, though.
Yeah, this was a great issue.
This was a really good issue.
They have done a really good job of, I think, taking Killer Watt from this ridiculous character to somebody who you believe in this over a very slow process. I think really good Wonder Man bit, some jokes.
I think this was really good. I think this is the first time they felt like a team. I have two thoughts still. One, I don't think this Ultron thing can be permanent. I think the good Ultron has to sacrifice himself at the end of the story or something, but I don't think they can have a good Ultron running around the Marvel Universe. I just don't think that can happen. I just think
they can do anything.
They can. I'm just saying I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's too much. So I think the thing is it's a constant source of mistrust. So every scene he's in, which is why they can't do it, because they would never actually do that. You know what I mean? They just would never actually have Ultron on the team because of that. But anyway, my main problem is I don't think Danny Kim's a very good artist, and I think that's holding this book back big time. I just don't like the way he draws. I don't think he's very good. I think a lot of it's kind of boring. I think
it's better than if at least it's in a style that's kind of his own, as opposed to. I would rather have, because this is another book that we're going to talk about later, and there's like this is a spoiler, I guess, like a Dynamite artist, and it kind of looks like Russ
I think he's a Dynamite artist. I think Danny Kim is a Dynamite artist.
No, but I mean, like, there's literally a style, and I think in here at least
I know, and I'm saying that's it. I think he's.
Oh no, this isn't to me. Like the Dynamite artist looks like it all kind of looks like Russ Braun or somebody. I'm trying to think of it, and that's the thing I see. It's like kind of rounded and slightly cartoon. I get what you're saying. I don't mind it that much. It's not like top end, but there's stuff in here that I dig. I think I did a great job on Wonder Man in the silly clothes.
See, I thought that was a terrible drawing, and that's why one of the things I thought that
really.
I thought this shot of him trying to look like he's like the anatomy's all terrible. Mm-hmm. It's a really bad drawing. So I can't. I mean, look, I feel bad. I always feel bad saying these things out loud, but it's one of the things holding me back from really liking the book because I just don't like the art.
I don't mind it.
But this, I mean, story wise, I thought
this
was a good issue. This was definitely a good issue. And you know, we both had a lot of trouble getting into the book. You got into it a little quicker than I did, but the team makes sense now.
Yeah,
and I would
also
like
the
to see
big final page. You know, it's not going to take, but
I would like to see this team go forward a little bit, see what happens if they do.
Yeah,
they haven't been doing 9 issues of this particular arc, have they?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's all been about this kind of stuff. Can't think of any other stories that happened here. I mean, it's kind of spoiled on the front page, although it's in a different I'm on the cover by a different method. I mean, it's just like I want this to exist, and so I'm willing to put up with it not being weird. At this point, like I think everything that's weird about it is just that it's weird. To me, the art's a little weird and the setup's a little weird, and I'm leaning into that because I want this book to exist rather than not. And I have sat through some pretty crappy West Coast Avengers arcs in my time.
Sure. I don't know. I think Kelly Jones is weird. I think Danny Kim is just bad, but that's a matter of it's art. It's a matter of taste. So for those of you waiting for the official death knell, the New 52, it only took 14 years, but it's done. With the new history of the DC Universe #2, we finally hit the Silver/Bronze Age. We start with the emergence of Superman in, I guess, the Golden Age, technically. And then we end with the dawning of Crisis on Infinite Earths. And it's just back to being this is just old DC with a couple of minor tweaks. He did throw Jeff Johns a bone, and he kept that Justice League #1 story where they fought Darkseid, but they aren't officially the Justice League in that story now. They just sort of came together, fought him off, put Cyborg into cryo sleep for some reason, and then woke him up again in time for New Teen Titans. And then
I don't remember all those details at all. I'm just like, oh, okay, but I see.
No, that was the only one I really recognized from the New 52 was them fighting Darkseid.
What about there's the bit here about the Justice Society, and they're like, and then there's the newer version of them, which is
that's from the old days. That's from
Bronze Age. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That's terrible. They should have left that out. I don't want any version of the Justice Society that isn't the Justice Society.
No, they're not. That's the Infinity Inc. is their Teen Titans.
Right.
Infinity Inc. is all their kids. It's a separate team.
All right.
It's not the Justice Society. With some minor variations, they're all back in their classic Silver Age costumes. It's all the same storylines all the timeline. So this issue, the first issue had art by Todd Nowak and Jerry Ordway. This issue has art by Brad Walker and Mike Allred. A lot of Mike Allred this
double Mike Allred week with Marvel and DC. That doesn't happen a lot.
At first I was a little bummed because I really liked the art in the first issue, but I came around. I thought Brad Walker did a really good job. He had a bit of a George Perez vibe to his work in this issue, and then
I was racking my brain because I was like, I know who Brad Walker is. I know that name, and I was trying to place what I knew it from, and I think he drew a lot of that Cosmic Annihilus stuff in the Guardians, and I think that's where I mostly. But that was a long time ago. But I thought he did a good job. He did a good Harry Chester.
I thought it was good. Looked really good.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is. It's funny because it's just all like, let's just go back. Never mind. It was a 14-year experiment. We'll keep a couple things, but mostly we're just going back to the old ways. And other than giving Robin pants after he's a kid, other than that, it's really everything's pretty much how it happened in the past. I'm just trying to scroll through to see if anything big step is sticking out at me. But other than that, Jeff Johns' Justice League story is now kind of in the canon. That's it, really. Everything else is back to normal. Some really nice art. I mean, you guys talked about the first issue, you and Ryan, when I was not on the show, but this Mark Waid did this over at Marvel, but this is really based on the history of the DC Universe, which was a 2-issue prestige miniseries that came out after Crisis on Infinite Earths that did exactly this. It said, here's the new continuity. We just changed everything. Now here's what you're looking at. And Marv Wolfman and George Perez did that. It was all Perez drawn in the same fashion. It just laid out the timeline. And I, as a kid, I read those books 100, 200 times. I just read them over and over and over and over again. And it was just this. It just laid it out. And that's how I got to know who everybody was and what their things were. It was about reading the history of the DC universe over and over and over again.
Well, it's funny because this isn't what I would normally want to read so much because it's kind of boring in a way, but I am appreciating sort of how it was constructed. Like if you look at the pages and there's a narrative that sort of goes through it, and the pages are kind of just right for what they need to be. They're not really story pages. They're more like a series of pinups.
They're pinups.
But we're going through all the faces in this. The lettering is sort of going along with it. They're telling a story. There is a forward momentum in those pages rather than just a cool image. You're having to work for it. There's a version of storytelling here. And there's every page or so, there's something really cool about the composition of stuff. The foreground, background stuff. There's a lot of times it's like the villain is sort of in the back, like the Trigon, behind the Titans. It just, there's a lot to look at on every page in a way that I felt was very satisfying. And then the contrast between Walker and Allred, I oddly enough worked in some way I cannot explain.
It did, because they're very different, and I'm sure someone will be like, "Yeah, no, this is different." I mean, yes, there's probably little differences here and there, but for the most part, I'm not saying they're turning the clock back, but for the most part, they have gone back to the old continuity, at least in this era of DC. It's funny because back then it was 2 books. This is 4, I think. So I guess we've had a lot of time since.
I mean,
86.
It's been 40 years, so they need that.
So things make it different as we move forward.
That's basically double. Like there's 40 something years before, or not even. So we've had more time pass than had before then. So that makes sense.
So it'll be interesting to see how. I mean, none of this ever makes sense, and we saw them try to do it the Marvel thing, but like, they've already had quite a life, and we're still only in real world times 1986 at this point in the book. So, these characters can't age that much. So how are we going to fit in all that time? And so it'll be interesting to see how that works. It won't work, and it doesn't matter. But it's interesting to see them try it. But man, if you're an Allred fan, this is definitely worth checking out. He really gets to draw a lot of fun stuff here, and he does some interesting. Where was that one I really liked? Where he looked Batman and Robin are heads. Oh, this page 15. Where they're just heads behind their villains. That was a cool thing. I like that.
Oh yeah, look at that. That is cool.
Just really good.
Little golden agey.
Yeah, I like that quite a bit. Really nice stuff here. So I'm gonna quiz Josh on the DC history now, and then we're gonna write up his exam, grade it.
I don't remember.
All right, we're back. Josh failed the quiz. Now let's talk about
immediately
Huck, Big Bad World #3 from Mark Miller.
I wanted to bring this up. I thought it was a 3-issue story, but now I don't remember off the top of my head. But either way, I think we're up and down on Mark Miller, have been our entire career, his entire career or whatever. And so a bunch of things have come out, and I was like, they're not great. And I had taken a little while to sort of remember what this was and get into it. I remember I enjoyed it the last time, and it's such a sweet character that he has created here.
Right.
And I just enjoyed this. And as I kept going through the series, I found myself liking it. Not going, this is great. I just kind of liked it. It was sweet. And I thought that Raphael Albuquerque, I wouldn't have thought of him as being the person for this, but it works.
Didn't he draw the original Huck?
Yeah. I know, but it's not like if you tell me about the story. No, I was
genuinely asking.
I think so. No, I think so. Because it's like a creator own sort of.
Would you like to guess what year the original Huck came out?
15.
Looks like.
Oh, you didn't have an answer ready.
No, I was asking you, but I was going to look it up. Huck came out Huck #1 came out November 2015.
Hey, look at that!
And it was Miller and Albuquerque. Yeah.
By the way,
6-issue.
2015 was 10 years ago.
Yep.
I
think this miniseries has gotten better with every issue. I wasn't convinced with issue 1.
Yeah,
but I really like this issue a lot. This was another comic I really enjoyed this week. Here's the thing about Mark Miller is that he is really, really good at reading the zeitgeist. And so in the early 2000s, when everything was Warren Ellisy, he went Warren Ellisy. And prior to that, he was writing back Superman the Animated Series comics. He can do sweet.
Yeah.
And
he was doing The Flash. It wasn't weird.
But those books are like beloved, those Superman. And he's really good at that. And so he went super nihilistic and did Wanted and stuff in the early 2000s because that was the zeitgeist. And then around 2015, 2014, he swung the other way and he did Huck and he did Starlight and he did a bunch of really like heroes are good comics, you know, like, and they were wonderful. We loved almost all those books. You remember all those comics coming out? They were great. And then he swung back. He just sort of followed. He's really good at reading the room and going that direction. The room is harder to read now. There's not so much a zeitgeist anymore. But this was great. This captured that feeling of.
I'm glad to hear that.
A really good guy. And there's a mystery here. Who is this magical witch that's giving other people superpowers? And it is a little bit like reading a comic version of the Patron Power. And I really get kind of annoyed at some of the powers. Like, damn, that's a really good one. But
he should be good at it.
Yeah. He's a professional comic writer. He should be way better than us at making powers. Exactly. But I liked this a lot. I'm sure it's not going to. Well, his thing has been 4 lately, but I'm hoping this is 6 because this is a really interesting story going on here. I don't really want it to end quickly, but I'm kind of glad it's back. I mean, I am. It was good.
Yeah. Real quickly, also, I wanted to mention Absolute Wonder Woman number 10 again. We've been getting kind of harder on the Absolute stuff. We're up and down on that to a certain extent. But there was sort of 2 things in here that I noticed. One is I just like Hayden Sherman and his layouts. Like he's impressed us lots of times with this issue, killing it. I'm like, you're watching somebody who relatively new. You're like, oh, he's getting better. Like he's getting confident. He's feeling his oats. You know, really doing great stuff. And then the other thing was there was a lot of prose in here from Kelly Thompson that I just thought was really nice writing and appropriate to the. I'm trying to find it, but there's bits here, and I was like, wow, this is like
this was another really good issue this week where we had double storytelling of Wonder Woman in current day trying to save a siren and for Ferdinand the Bull in this maze, while we also see her as a kid in her first real test as a warrior and not doing well. Both were great. Both were compelling. Both were exciting. Hayden Sherman's awesome. As like you said, we've been a little down on Absolute as a whole, but not in this book. This book remains. Yeah,
it's been incredibly. I think
we said Batman was the best for a while, but that was the first arc. Wonder Woman now is the best Absolute book.
Yep.
It was a strong 2 before, but now it's taken the number 1 spot from Batman.
Because it's just been so consistent. I've enjoyed every issue. You know, it's picking up steam. It doesn't seem like it's slow, but it leaves me wanting more. Look at that. I mean, look at the design on just whatever the monster is. Like this, like giant panther with blood dripping off its face.
Oh right, yeah.
With like a house cat face almost. It's, you know, and then there's these shots of her as like a little girl with a giant axe, and you know,
she saved the turtle. It was just a really good book. I like her little team. You know, she's got Steve and Etta Candy and whoever, all Etta's sister and somebody else, and they don't really know how to help her, but they're trying. They're trying. It was good.
The very point of her existence, very point of her, is to place an undefeatable weapon into the heart of a system that must be disrupted, if not destroyed. And the idea is that, you know, because she's her, she has to be like she is, but also that could sacrifice her. It's really interesting, you know, thoughts about what she is.
I thought it was great. I thought it was really, really good. Yep.
So, you like what you're listening to, I assume. I mean, maybe not. You're comic book people, so you maybe listen to this. Just fucking hate these guys. I hate this, but you come back every week because that's how it works.
We thank you for the
right.
Listen, the download.
So, if you really want to hate us, like you really want to get into it,
great way to hate us. It's a great way.
You could go to patreon.com/iFanboy, support the show monetarily, and then you can like really you can just I pay for this because you like that feeling.
Every month the resentment will grow and it'll be awesome.
That's what you're looking for. You know I'm talking to, sir. This means this is a listener supported endeavor that we deal with here. I hit my microphone. I hope that didn't make a sound. You can directly support the show, become part of a great community. We have a Discord group. We have a Facebook group. Presumably there's still a Facebook group.
I think so. I don't know. Something's happening on Facebook.
So like, like maybe it's devolved into some weird Lord of the Flies thing. I don't know.
I would assume.
You can vote on the Patron Pick. You can get a Patron Power live on the show, and you can join the monthly Patron Hangout. This is where it gets good. At $10 or higher, you will get an ad-free version of this show posted to Patreon a day early. We'll put things up early.
Ad-free version of every show.
Yes, exactly. But this one, even you get it a day earlier than you used to. And we'll put the other ones up earlier if there's an opportunity to. It's happened. And then what else? Oh, and there's the after show. Obviously, there's more show. The ever growing after show that is all the books we didn't talk about.
Almost 30 minutes last week.
I'm not okay with that.
You're
proud of it. I'm like, this is
no, I think it's funny. It's just been crazy big weeks. This week won't be as bad.
Yeah.
Next week there may not even be an after show.
If you
there's hardly anything coming out next week.
We'll just be like, we're taking questions, but there's nobody to ask them.
We'll answer one
There's a discount if you sign up for one full year at a time, and you can now send or receive gift memberships. That's patreon.com/iFanboy. And if you want to know about those gifts, add the /gift to the end of it. Our merch store is threadless.com, where we have 24
iFanboy.threadless.com.
I'm sorry, you're right. iFanboy.threadless.com. Read the screen, listen to what I said second. There's new designs.
One new design.
There's one new design. That's right. That are available now. There it is.
The new design is the world's greatest comics podcast design, and it's it's just a random design celebrating.
It's like our normal logo, or it's unrelated.
Unrelated to anything that might be happening.
And it's unrelated to this logo.
Right.
Also,
it could be from the 70s. I don't know. It has that kind of feel to it, but
it's created from whole cloth, though. I think
it's just unrelated.
It's a nice little image there. It says everything you want to know about it. So you can get over to ifanboy.threadless.com. You can check out that design. Make sure to go check out some of the old ones. Maybe you forgot about them a little bit, but
you know what I like? I like
yes.
This happened. We released this new design on our Patron Hangout last week. We had a hangout. We launched it during the show. And people went and bought the new design and also bought some old designs as well. So I think when they get in there, they're like, "Oh, right, that shirt. I wanted to buy one of those or that mug." I bought myself a mug the other day.
I have a lot of mugs.
Yeah.
So there's that. There's a new shirt. I hope people dig it. iFanboy.com/support, which is a PayPal link, which is just a simple way to do all those things we talked about. And the only thing you get for it is your satisfaction of doing the right thing and helping people who you respect, hopefully, or hate. Works the same for us either way. iFanboy.com/Amazon is a general shopping link for
we operate.
Link. I don't operate on resentment as much as I used to, and certainly not as much as some other people I know.
I just meant you. I hate you.
Well, that's how this whole
that was the
thing
joke.
works.
The joke was that we operate on respect/hate.
Right. Oh, I mean, I respect you.
Sure,
God
but
damn
hate
it,
you a little bit.
Hate you. So ifanboy.com/Amazon, finally bookshop.org is a local bookstore aggregator. So we will put links up for things where that fits because we think that's good stuff.
I'm going to make this quick for these next two. Superman 28, Joshua Williamson. This is the double Dan Mora week. God, how does he do it? I loved this issue. I like the idea that, I mean, I don't know how it's happening. We don't know how it's happening yet, but somehow Darkseid has corrupted the timeline. So in the future, the Legion of Superheroes is not the Legion of Superheroes, the Legion of Darkseid, and he's taking, so when Superman goes and misses his buddies in the Legion and goes and summons them with his ring, he gets a surprise. They're all evil. I thought that was a fun little Silver Agey thing. We know everything's leading towards Darkseid with this all-in business. We know we're eventually going to get to the point where they've got to face Darkseid again. And this is just a nice little way to make him seem more dangerous, is that he's basically taken over in the future. And how's that happen?
I don't like the Legion. I don't need Legion.
I know you don't like. Number two, I actually kind of like what they're doing with Doomsday. I like him as this time trapper guy.
It's interesting.
In the future. It's the most interesting thing they've done with him since 1995. Mm-hmm. I'd rather see this than have him show up, punch Superman a few times. They all go, "Oh no, last time he killed Superman." Then winning him.
They kind of. It's kind of Kang. They kind of turn him into Kang.
I mean, he's not a bad guy. He's not trying to take anything over.
Then he's Immortus.
Yeah, well,
That's what I'm saying.
or he's any number of cosmic beings who live in the future.
Yeah, but like specifically, it's the version of this character, and you've seen them at many. So this is this character in a much later point in his life. That's what that's what happens to Kang,
right.
and he's the time trapper.
It's much more interesting than just having him show up as the mindless beast who punches,
which is boring now.
And then finally, the cliffhanger is that Superboy Prime, and I went, oh shit, and I loved it. I was so happy to see Superboy Prime because
I didn't remember what that was. I was like, this is supposed to mean something, but
Superboy Prime is the Superboy from Infinite Crisis who knows he's a comic book character. That's why he talks to us at the end here. And is evil. He was the one who was the bad guy in Infinite Crisis. He was. I forgot why. I forgot exactly why he went crazy, but it doesn't really matter. All I know is he became Jeff Johns' avatar for internet trolls for a while. And then I just think he's unique and fun, and I'm happy, and I love that era of DC, and so to have him back, I went, oh shit, and I liked it. Finally, Green Lantern 582 or 25. This is the start of a new story. It's really convoluted in the best possible way. I won't take up all of our time explaining it, but basically they're trying to relight all the batteries for all the different rings, all the different colors of the spectrum, because they've been down for a while, and thus the energy has expanded into the universe, and everyone's sort of heightened in a good, in a bad way in their emotions. They're trying to get it all back into the batteries. Meanwhile, this other group is trying to do their own batteries, which causes a different problem. So it's a race to get the batteries lit. There's only so much. It's like any G.I. Joe story. There's only so much of this material that light the batteries, and there's a race to get it. Really good. Jeremy Adams, Harmonico is a great artist. Jeremy Adams does a really fun Green Lantern. This features all the players: Hal, John, Guy, Kyle, Kilowog, Carol, Star Sapphire. It brings back. This might be our first appearance, or maybe not. But the robot character from the Green Lantern cartoon that I really liked from 10 years ago. She's now in the book. And then it has a great cliffhanger, a great ending to start the series off. An oh shit moment, and I really liked it. I thought this was. I've been enjoying Jeremy Adams' run on Green Lantern, but I thought this was the best issue, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes. Cool. So I'm really happy with where that is, and I don't know where we are.
That was unexpected to me. That means that we've talked about all the books that we wanted to talk about.
That's right.
But every week the patrons get to vote on which book they would like us to talk about.
Josh, would you like to tell the people the expletive that you let out when you saw the winner of the pick of the week?
Nope.
Okay. Nope. The patron pick.
I can't tell if they hate us, but the patron pick is Captain Planet and the Planeteers number 2. By David Pepose, art by Iman. I'm seeing these names for the first time. Iman Casalos, Jorge Sutil on colors, and Jeff Eckleberry on letters
from Dynamite. So every patron of the show gets a vote at Book of the Rundown every week, and this is the book they voted for. Okay. I've never seen an episode of Captain Planet.
Oh yes, let's
Captain Planet premiered when we were 13.
Yeah, it came sort of right at, for me, it would have been the end of when I was watching any cartoons. And I remember, I feel like it was fairly heavily marketed. I want to say it was on TBS.
Oh, it was everywhere.
Right. And I remember being like, okay, I'll look at it because I liked superheroes. And at that point, this is crazy. You really had to work for superheroes back then. Like if there was a superhero, I was like, well, I'll check it out. I only get so many superheroes. But it just seemed sort of silly, and I don't think it looked very good, and that was about it.
I had the same thought. So that show predated the Batman the Animated Series by 2 years. And so it wasn't a common thing to have a superhero cartoon. However, even at 13, I saw the ads and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And I feel very strongly about environmentalism in the planet and recycling, and even though they just confirmed that nothing actually gets recycled, and I still feel very strongly about all that stuff. So, but even at 13, I was like, this is a PSA dressed up as a cartoon. I'm not super interested. So I've never seen an episode of Captain Planet. So I have no affinity. I have no affinity. This is basically like Power Rangers all over again. I have no affinity towards this product whatsoever. What I did find interesting while reading this, and this wasn't a bad comic book. We've read bad comic books. This was just a comic book. But I found it interesting this was the second issue. because
I'm with you. I know where you're going.
it read very much like a first issue.
I was like, what the fuck happened in the first issue? Because I can tell
Exactly.
you it didn't matter.
And
I guess it was them capturing the lady, and then maybe they met all these people out on their own.
But you didn't need to.
No.
This gave you all of the information you needed. I thought back to my long ago days working in film development, and often when you're reading a script, you tell the writer, look, the story really starts at page 20. Mm-hmm. You don't need any of this. You can reveal this information later. So I have a feeling that issue 1 of this didn't need to be.
I looked afterwards. I didn't really pay attention. I saw the 2 on the cover, and I was like, really?
That was interesting. I found myself interested in reading it in that sense. Like, wow, this is doing a really good job of getting you into the story, getting you into the characters, and but I had the same thought. What happened in the first issue? This is not me asking. I don't really want to know. Don't really care. Yeah. But what happened in that first issue? Because whatever did happen didn't need to happen. Mm-hmm. I think because
I'm 100% on board with you.
David posted a really good job here of in media res. I mean, you weren't because Data won, but for us, in media resing the story, getting you in getting in late, meeting the characters. You got all the characters pretty much right away. You got the stakes right away. I mean, I didn't care, but I was impressed from that sense. But also, like, wow, the first issue must have kind of I don't know. I don't want to say what it was.
All right, so
unnecessary.
This will bring me to my overall thought is that as I started this, I thought, well, this is either going to be one or two of two things. It's either going to be like a serious version of it or a goofy version. That's sort of how you can do it right now.
Right.
And both of those lead me to the question of who the fuck is this supposed to be for?
Well, you know what it was? Isn't David Proposed the same guy who did the
Silverhawks?
Space Ghost.
Yeah, yes.
The serious Space Ghost.
See, the difference being that like Space Ghost comes from it was kind of it's much more vintage, and so it can be sillier or not. Like it was supposed to be serious, and then it became a comedy thing, and you can kind of push it. Whereas this was just goofy to begin with, and so all right, you can make it all ages, but who cares? I mean, you can make it like an adult thing, but who cares?
No,
and you can make it all ages, but no kids are reading this. No kid gives a shit about
these are not for kids. These are for adults, and so.
But at the same time, though, as an adult, it's boring as shit. It's fine, like it's well done enough to be like, oh, it's competent, but it is a bog stock.
Well, I mean, this
superhero story. I know that, but like, if you're an adult, like, I would think that you would have become like more mature, sophisticated to want something out of what you're reading, other than this, which isn't. It's just bland. So it's just like I like looking at a thing that's about Captain Planet that's making me remember what I used to like. But like, if you're gonna do it for adults, then you don't have. Doesn't mean you have to make tits and ass everywhere. Make it interesting. Make it good. This is every bad superhero comic I ever. And by bad, I just mean boring. Like it's just everything. It's like the central casting version of, and then they kind of fight and they meet, and there's a hot-headed guy and there's an evil and it's just boring.
I think you're overlooking the fact that he now has a beard. So
you know what?
It's serious business because he's got a beard.
Right. So they're gonna make him cool, but like the weird shit on his shoulders, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Has he always had that?
I don't think so.
He looks like he's got polyps on the outside.
I can't disagree with anything you're saying. I mean, it's clearly a thing at Dynamite where they're getting these licenses for these kids' products or IP.
They just like make the most
we'll make
bland, formulaic thing.
Which is hard. I mean, I get there's challenges because the licensee is going to have to, licensed comics writing is really difficult, and what often comes out of working with a licensor is bland and boring. Because
so then, who's it for? Who's buying this?
People who are slightly younger than us who watched Captain Planet when they were kids and now read comics.
But they're like they've got to be in their 40s.
It doesn't matter how old they are. We're reading. I'm reading. Good. It doesn't matter. It's no different than us reading Superman. If you were a kid and you watched
read Captain Superman if it's bad though.
Right, but you're not the normal reader. These are people who like Captain Planet.
Have higher. I don't think that like if you like it, I get it. You want to watch. You like when you're a kid, you go back and you watch the cartoons, and you have that nostalgic feeling. But like for years, you and I love G.I. Joe. Shocker to the people listening. But for years, we didn't read the shitty comic books that they were making of them because they weren't any good. But
Again,
when they started making,
we're not normal readers though.
I don't know. I figure people would demand more. It's just like eating like reheated
Have you
Arby's.
seen what's out there?
I don't know.
People like comfort, and if you were an 8-year-old kid who loved Captain Planet, and you're 42, you'll probably check out Captain Planet and the Planeteers.
I don't see how you could be
an adult. You're reading Silverhawks the same way you're reading Thundercats, the same way you're reading
those. Same thing. I don't. Those things. They're not good. Like, make a really good comic. G.I. Joe's really good right now, or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, it can be done. The fucking Flintstones book. Do something interesting.
I agree with you. The execution is not good. I just think this is why it exists. It exists for people who are our age, who are slightly younger than us. Who I think the Power Rangers books are terrible, but people younger than us love them because that was their thing. It's the same thing.
Yeah, but at least, like, when Ryan talks about those, though, it sounds like he's interested in the things that are happening in them. Whereas I don't see that. I don't see how that's possible with this, but I don't know. It's a mustache twirler. It's, like, I was like, oh, there's Guy Gardner. There's just
I didn't think it was. Oh, absolutely,
tropes.
that guy was 100% Guy Gardner. I didn't think it was bad. I just thought it was like it was. This was a comic.
Well, like, I thought
I was interested in reading
it. I think the art was. It was. I was like, okay, this is a very good Dynamite artist. Like, I wouldn't be happy if it was on Fantastic Four, but for Dynamite, top of the heap. Right. You know what I mean? Or as good as it gets. That's that kind of artist who, I would classify as like a type of artist that they use.
Also, that one character, the Korean characters, always like this. Yeah, I mean, I struggle to say this is bad. I would say, is it standard and kind of unimaginative? Yes, but I don't think it was.
Sometimes bad. I find boring and rote to be worse than kind of bad. Like we should know better.
What is on his shoulders? Is it mushrooms?
That's what I thought it was. It looks like fungal growth, which I'm terrified of now. Like, he should get that checked out. Then again, fungus is maybe one of the most important parts of our biosphere that most people don't know about. So,
they're not Green Lanterns because they're not wearing their ring on their middle fingers. That's how you know. All right, let's rate Captain Planet and the Planeteers #2 from Dynamite. Ratings out of 5 stars. I'm gonna go 2.25.
1.5.
Did you read it without it being the Patron Pick? No, I was not planning on reading Captain Planet.
I think we know the answer to that.
And are you sticking with Captain Planet and the Planeteers #2?
Nope. No, sir. Nope.
Well, there you go. Patreon.com/iFanboy.
It is the thing that is and should not be.
Thank you for voting. I actually don't. I didn't mind reading this one because I did find it interesting. It made me think about the structure and how they put it out, and like that was an interesting conversation in my head about it. So I didn't actually mind it that much. But the comic is what it was. Thanks for being a patron. Patreon.com/iFanboy. But every patron who gets at the $5 or higher level gets a superpower live on the show, like this dude.
Brent Hibbard. Brent Hibbard has the power of blame shifting. He can shift the blame from wherever
it is away.
And redirect it to someone else.
Like a mirror, like a blame mirror.
So, like if I was thinking at first it was just for his own. But that gets pretty sinister. But I mean, obviously, if you're shifting the blame, it can go good or bad. You could be shifting the blame away from somebody who is guilty, or if somebody's barking up the wrong tree, you can shift the blame away from that.
Right?
How's it done? I don't know.
No one ever blames Brent. Brent's never in trouble.
I mean, with many of these, we don't say a lot of time that you can break bad. But we have to put that element in there sometime.
Temptation's there.
Really, this is really a question of Brent's character more than anything else.
Will Brent ever take the blame willingly? That's up to Brent.
I mean, that's like the issue 5, and he finally he's been living a ne'er-do-well life. His name is Brent Hibbard, but you'll find he's anything but pure.
The trick is he's got to take the blame for small small things that don't matter, right? So that the big stuff he can just bounce it over to his
It
buddy
doesn't. No, he can shift the blame for everything.
Right, but I'm saying if he takes a blame sometimes, no one will ever suspect him.
They don't, though. That's the whole power. He can use it as much as he wants. It's not coming his way. They're like, Brent he's the guy. He's on it. Or even if something is like, it's your fault, and we're like, well, it was the way he was raised. That's true. It's not really his fault, is it? The blame is constantly shifting. It is not pointed. The blame, he doesn't need to.
Well, in the story, there's got to be someone who might suspect something's wrong. There's got to be.
Only for a minute. I didn't say it was a story. I don't have to turn this into a good narrative. That's not the point.
Thanks
I'm
for
not
being a patron.
That responsibility.
Thanks for being a patron, Brent. Patreon.com/iFanboy. Any patron at the $5 or higher level gets Superpower live in the show. We thank you very much. And now we have to do this email because we've been kicking the can down the road for 3 episodes, even though we're probably over. We are over, but let's do it anyway. Ken J from the Great White North. Here's a doozy. What one comic book creator do you think has won each decade since the 1930s? For the 60s, I'd say it was Kirby, and for the 80s, I'd say it was Byrne. The others don't seem as easy. Thoughts? What creator has won each decade? I mean, I don't know if we're good enough to answer the 30s, the 40s, and the 50s.
I mean, I think it. I mean,
because those books, the books that were selling back then were westerns and and romance comics, and
I mean, if we're talking about one, you can define that all sorts of way, but I think you could make a strong argument that in the 30s, Siegel and Schuster won.
That's not one creator.
They're a team. I'm giving it that. They're a team. They go together.
Well, the 60s, it's Kirby and Lee. Then you got to pick one.
I'm fine with that.
You're changing the rules on Jen.
Well, I don't know. Then I don't know this. I should know this. I don't know the definition of like who came up with the idea for Superman. Was it a?
Right, yeah. I mean,
that's the answer.
It's probably Siegel because
right. So then him
or Schuster.
But they lost because they sold it for $130.
It was Siegel. Siegel's the writer. It's got to be him.
Right. So,
but who knows?
I mean, I don't know enough about the 30s and 40s.
That's what I said. We don't. So let's skip to the 60s.
So the 60s are there. The first we're saying Kirby. 70s is not answered here. So, I mean,
is the 70s Neil Adams?
Is it Neil Adams?
It's got to be Neil Adams, right? He changes the whole game in the 70s.
I mean, there's something there. There's something to be said for that. I think he did some in the late 60s. He was around for that.
Well, sure. And he was around until just a few years ago. But I think in the 70s is really...
I mean, or is it like John Buscema or Gene Colan or Marv Wolfman?
No.
I think you're right.
It's
I'm batting things out there to see if anything grabs.
Wolfman was the 80s.
Okay.
Colan was not as influential as Adams.
Let's just say Steve Englehart. Let's call it that.
I mean, you could make a case for John Romita, but I think it's Adams. Adams changed everything, like Kirby did.
I put Romita in the 60s, but no, I mean, I just think of him in that way.
Yeah.
But either way, so
80s is hard because
I mean, says
you've
Byrne,
got Byrne, you've got Moore, you've got Miller, you've got Perez. You've got.
I put Byrne, and I'm sorry to say this to you, I put Byrne over Perez.
Claremont.
In terms of not like what I prefer or what I like, but I just think he was more the preeminent guy at the time.
No, Byrne was a bigger. I mean, they were both huge stars.
Here's one.
Byrne was the bigger star. Yep.
McFarlane. It's just really like he just led him into the 90s. Then he won that decade, I think.
Well, the 90s are going to get interesting, but the 80s is hard because you've got Moore doing great work in the 80s. You've got Miller doing great work in the 80s between Daredevil and Batman. And
I mean, those two are probably currently selling more books that they did during that time than anybody else still is. In fact, I'd put money on that.
I mean, you had Dark Knight Returns and you had Batman Year One in the 80s with Daredevil. So it's hard to beat those three things in terms of winning a decade.
I think you could say Frank Miller. I'd put them neck and neck just because of, like, I don't know that I could choose, but you make a strong argument.
It's really, really, really hard. the 80s might be the hardest decade to figure out who it is, because it's hard not to say Byrne. He defined, it's funny because we're talking about Kirby in the 60s, Adams in the 70s, and Byrne in the 80s. Is the progression of comic book art and how it changes. And so if you're going to go that way, then you could.
Well, the
pick
other
Byrne.
thing though is that all of those people we just named, we're talking about art, but all of those people were also writers and storytellers, in their own right. Every one of those, like
we didn't even mention Eisner.
Adams. I thought of that when we were talking about the 30s. I couldn't kind of remember, but like there's something to be said there. That but like Kirby, he doesn't write, but he wrote, like he created. He did later, but he's not known for having great dialogue and stuff like that. But the sort of a larger form of writing, the creation, the storytelling of it, that all counts. Frank Miller obviously is as influential as a writer as he is an artist. Moore's not a writer or not an artist, but actually he's a cartoonist. But and then Byrne, of course, could do it all. Would you say Claremont for the?
I was just throwing names out for the 80s. Yeah, I mean you have to mention Claremont in there. He wrote the biggest book of the decade.
Yeah.
The Spirit. Eisner did the Spirit in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. So he might.
You know who didn't win the 50s? Max Gaines.
Okay, so lost. So are we punting the 80s, or are we just saying Byrne?
I mean, I'd say Byrne.
It's too hard. It's too hard, but if we're talking about artist progression.
At the time, in 1989, December 31st, 1989, I'm looking back and I'm saying it's Byrne.
So then who wins the 90s?
Jim Lee.
Yeah. I think, yeah. It is interesting. It is interesting because it goes Kirby, Adams, Byrne, Lee, and that is the progression of Marvel style and progression of comic art. So if we're just even talking artists, then does Brian Hitch win in 2000s?
No, because I think then you switch. If we're talking about the 2000s,
because he changed everyone's style.
We're having a different conversation in the 2000s because, for one thing, it's the one we really do know the most about
Bendis.
Intimately. It's Bendis. That's my first answer.
Yeah.
2000s. I mean, you could make an argument if we change the definition of creator, you could make an argument for Joe Quesada. In terms of creatively leading movements that changed everything.
He's an editor. He's an editor. He's a suit. His art didn't. His creation art didn't change. It's like saying, Julie Schwartz in the 70s. Like he was not a creator. He was a game-changing executive.
Playing with it. Then I'm still going with Bendis. Like in terms of making the most people happy, really affecting what books looked and sounded like for a long time. Read like the way the characters acted. Sometimes in a negative way, like it worked for him, but not necessarily. Now we get to the 2010s.
That's hard. In my head, I can't even place what happened in 2010s versus the 2000s.
Well, it's also, this is where we're talking about. We're starting to see the fractiousness, like this is the era where we lost the creator superstar. It doesn't exist in that same way anymore. Whereas before, you could sell a Wolverine book as a Wolverine book, and you could put Jim Lee drawn, and you'd blast away. As we get into the 2010s, that still exists at the beginning, but it doesn't exist now.
It's hard because 2011 is the New 52, right? So, that's kind of the definition. I mean, then is it Snyder?
I would say Jeff Johns before it's Snyder.
No, because Jeff Johns' influence dies to the New 52. He was the previous decade. He was
really?
Johns and Bendis were 1 and 2 in the 2000s, and then he loses the battle over DC in the New 52. And it goes. It goes to Dio and Snyder's way versus Johns' way.
I mean, having talked to Scott specifically about how he felt during that time, I don't feel like he thinks he won.
Well, no creator does, but I mean, I'm not saying Snyder's the guy either. I'm just trying to figure out.
I don't think it is. I just think it gets
harder. His Batman book was dominant for years.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
For some reason, in my brain, I can think back, and into the decades. Obviously, the ones we're alive in, but the ones before that, I can think about the books and place them in decades. In the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. When I hit 2010 and the New 52, my brain loses the ability to put things in order.
When did The Walking Dead start? Because you could make an argument that Kirkman kind of won the 2010s in a way.
Walking Dead comic book premiered in 2003.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It was early. We were talking about it early.
You could make an argument because it was always Bendis versus Kirkman. But if you want to like talk about a person who created popular culture,
the three most important creators in 2000 are Bendis, Johns, and Kirkman in terms of DC, Marvel, and indie books.
Yeah,
those are the three most important creators in the 2000s.
I mean, but did Kirkman make a bigger mark on the world in general? Maybe not just
right. We're talking about comics.
I know. I'm just talking it out.
But between Walking Dead and Invincible and all the other side books he did in the 2000s, he was just as big as anybody.
Yeah, and he had so much to do with that exodus. Like the talent
the second Image exodus.
That like led all those people to make amazing books in the sort of second act of their careers. I don't have an answer for the 2010s. I honestly,
I can't do it. It's weird. I can't do it.
Can't have it.
Then 2020s, forget it.
Forget
it. I don't know.
Is it Tom King?
Yeah, I guess
it's the best answer I have for it.
Yeah, even though
guy who gets to do what he wants, sometimes inexplicably sells, is getting to work with the artist he wants. And I don't mean that in that like it's not good. I mean that it's kind of it's the opposite of what I was saying with the Captain Planet thing. Like it's pretty fucking smart. It can be intricate. It can be difficult.
Although Mr. Miracle, which would be his biggest work, was 2017. But I still think
like I feel like you can do a decade, but as we get closer, like then we have to go in chunks of 2 because
he's like the 2015 guy on. He's like 2015. Like, yeah, I don't know. My brain doesn't work anymore in terms of the new. What's the reverse of this? That dementia's like when you can remember the things in the past, but not things in the present.
I think that's exactly what it's like because you walk in and you think you're talking to your kids, but they're dead or whatever. Listen, he didn't ask us to solve this. He just said thoughts, and I believe we provided thoughts.
We got a lot of thoughts.
This can be taken on by other people. It's a fantastic question.
You want to do the second one really fast?
Okay.
I think we can do it fast.
Okay.
This is a Canada episode. Lex L, suspicious, from Vancouver, Canada, says, with the recent release of the new Superman movie, I've gone back and watched some previous iterations of the character in live action and also listened to some of your older podcasts on Superman Returns, Man of Steel, etc. At the time, you seemed to enjoy those movies, and then it comes later, and then it seems later you kind of backtracked and changed your opinion on some of them, especially Man of Steel. I'm just curious, do you ever rewatch any of these older Superman movies, and if so, what is your opinion of these days? Have they changed, or have you settled on what you think at this point? Although not perfect, I definitely prefer the James Gunn Superman over Man of Steel, in my opinion.
It is true that I can tell you. Well, the thing is that we all wanted to like those movies a lot.
It's funny because you missed the hangout we just had, but Mike Romo filled in for you, and we literally talked about this very subject on the show, on the hangout, about our Man of Steel arc, which was, and I do think this is true, although I haven't gone back and listened to it, but I do think if you really listen to the Man of Steel podcast, you hear people grasping for reasons to like it.
This is what I'm getting at.
I remember walking out of the second because I saw it twice in 12 hours when it came out. That's how excited I was for it. I saw a midnight show and then the next day, like a 7 p.m. show. And I remember walking out of the second going, oh, shit.
I also remember like we did that really fast. Like I feel like I did it immediately after I got out of the theater. And so I didn't have a lot of time. And the other thing is at this point, Zack Snyder wasn't on the same. What I thought of his work wasn't the same, and
we liked 300, we liked Watchmen, and there's the zombie movies, but
I think if you heard people talking about something they really wanted to like, and now in retrospect, I don't remember anything good about it.
Plus,
And
opinions change and
yes.
thoughts change, especially over the course of time. Something you may think you like at one point in your life, something you don't like at a later point in your life, or vice versa. And I think what you got in the Man of Steel review was what our thoughts were at that very moment in time, as Josh said, like right after seeing it. And I definitely was grasping for reasons to like it because I liked Henry Cavill. We hadn't had a Superman movie in like 10 years. I desperately wanted DC movies to be as good as Marvel movies, and we were grasping for it. And I think if you go back and listen to the shows back then, it's pretty clear that very quickly we turned on it. Like anytime it came up on the show or other places, we very quickly changed our minds on it. And it wasn't like years later; it was like soon after the recording.
I think for me also, everybody loves Superman, and I liked Superman. But in that intervening time, I don't remember when the Zack Snyder one came out, but like I through comics like developed a much more specific sense of what I want from Superman.
Man of Steel was 2013.
Yeah. So and it
12 years
changed
ago.
and it changes through there, especially like if we're looking at the world we live in and what Superman's supposed to represent. Like I have a clearer idea of what I want that to be. And I think James Gunn showed a lot of that. Where at the time that was the opposite of what Zack Snyder was trying to show.
Right.
It was a lack of sweetness. It was
I will 100% say that we were wrong on Man of Steel in the initial review of it.
Yeah.
And I have not watched it in a long time. Superman Returns, I watched 2-3 weeks ago, right? Like the week before Superman.
No shit.
Yeah, my wife had never seen it, and she has a great Brandon Routh story when she ran into him once, and so I was like, "You never seen his Superman movie? We talk about we talk about you and Superman all the time." So we watched it, and it's I don't remember what we said at the time of the review.
Is it Kevin Spacey as Lex?
Yeah. Okay, he's good. And I think I gave it 3 stars on Letterboxd, and it's an incredibly strange movie because it's a sequel that's of the second film, not like it doesn't acknowledge 3 and 4, and while also being a reboot, and so it tries to exist in the world of Christopher Reeve, but it's also starting over. It's a very strange movie that I think does a lot of things really, really well and does some things very, very poorly. It has some incredible casting decisions and some incredibly bad ones. It's a very strange film, but I liked it. It's enjoyable to watch. But it's not.
Only thing I remember about it is like the first scene where he like saves the plane,
right,
and then lands that also in a stadium. Stadiums come up, and I just think because again at that point it was still kind of new. We hadn't.
And it was a very similar.
Superman
honestly,
movie.
It's a very similar. At the end, he has to choose between saving Lois or saving Metropolis because there's an earthquakes thing happening, which is sort of similar to Super James Gunn's film where he has to choose between saving the country and saving Metropolis. But it's fun enough. It's worth watching. I don't think it's a bad movie by any means, but it's just fine. And I don't think my opinion is like leagues different than when we originally saw it. I remember liking it a lot.
I remember liking it, but
there hadn't been a film since Superman 4, and so I was just excited to see a Superman movie. And I probably gave it like a 4. No, but I probably gave it a higher rating than I would now.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's a bad movie. I didn't see it in the last month. But Man of Steel, I don't really any desire to see again.
No.
But yeah, we liked Man of Steel. I mean, we liked Superman, the new one.
All right, let's get out.
Let's get out of here.
We'd like to hear more from you. Thank you for sending those in. You can, of course, write to contact@iFanboy. If you have an email for our Media Splode show, then you should put, get this, Media Splode in the subject line so we know how to properly file and organize. You don't want to get lost. If you have some question about Marlon Brando, then don't ask us about Marlon Brando.
Love it. Let's talk about Marlon Brando all day long.
Yeah. Then do that. So plug away, as Harvey Fierstein said.
So 3 or so weeks ago, maybe it's more at this point, we did our Media Splode review of Rad, the 1986 BMX bike classic. You can almost see the guns held to Josh and I's heads while we're doing it. 2 weeks ago, we had a Superman review. We just mentioned me and Josh and our old pal Ron Richards reviewed Superman. You can find that in the feed. This past week, right behind this show, Josh released his Talksplode interview with Chris Condon. New hot writer Chris Condon on the scene.
Literally did come from nowhere. I was like, so had you done anything before That Texas Blood and Comics? He's like, no. Fair enough. Okay. Good for you.
So you can find that right behind the show in the feed. And then this coming week, we're going to have a review of the Fantastic Four First Steps, the new Marvel Studios film. Will it save Marvel Studios? We'll find out with our review next week. So check those out. All of them are available at iFanboy.com. Josh will tell you about that right now.
Oh, man. The whole library. Everything. Mm-hmm. Our entire oeuvre is available. Well, that's not true, but everything that exists is available at iFanboy.com.
Everything that's around.
Podcast, RSS aggregators. It's there. You got to poke. There's
not the Don't Miss show.
No, not that. But
that show's gone.
That was very of the moment. So
nothing we did about it. It's gone.
We did an interview every week.
Yeah. Well, it was like a 10-minute interview. It was a 10-minute plug for a book. That's all it was.
That only worked when we were full time because we could do it whenever. Yeah. Never miss a show and find out what the pick of the week is by going to the social media. iFanboy Comics at Instagram and Threads, iFanboy.com on Blue Sky, and Connor and I are on Instagram at CSK Patrick and Jay Flanagan. Both of those are our names in the same format.
We didn't coordinate that, by the way.
2 times a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. Our pal and former staff writer Jeff Reeves. Former staff writer sounds better than former writer. It sounds like we fired him there. Although I guess it would work the same. Anyway, he does video deep dives into forgotten comic book minutia twice a week. It'll be on our social channels and on YouTube. So those are worth your time.
Please consider writing us a review or leaving a star rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you're listening on Pocket Cast, you need to be subscribed and have downloaded a few episodes before you can rate it. Subscribe to youtube.com/iFanboy where you can watch the video version of this show, as well as our special, basically every show, but the Talksplode goes up there. And you can find Jeff Reed's comic book deep dives, we just talked about. They're up there as well. And the archive of all of our old video shows that we did from 2007, 2012, back before YouTube existed. And we were nascent YouTubers. There wasn't a thing.
Mm-hmm. We were ahead of our time again.
What was the outlet called after Revision 3?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
I literally have no.
Finally, join us on the iFanboy After Show exclusively on Patreon, where we'll talk about all the books we read this week that didn't make the rundown. That's at patreon.com/iFanboy for everyone at the $10 a month tier and up. And thank you for listening. I'm Connor.
I'm Josh. I appreciate you.
See you I'll see you in 2 weeks.